Imagine you're 8 years old again. It's a summer evening. The kind where the air is still warm, but the light has turned dim and golden, and everything seems to slow down. You're on the swing set with your little brother. Your hands smell of rust and iron from the chains. Your mom can see you from the kitchen window. It's a rule. Always stay where mom can see you on. Everything is as safe as it should be. There's a man sitting on a bench by the fountain. You notice him when you come up. He's maybe 40, in a gray jacket, with a newspaper open on his lap. You don't think much about it. Grown-ups sit in parks. They just do that. But after 30 minutes, he hasn't moved. And here's the thing. He hasn't turned a single page. This is Delilah's story. She was 9 years old. It was late August 1998, and she lived in a suburb of Columbus, Ohio. She knew this park like her own bedroom, every creaking latch, every splinter in the bench, every scrap of worn dirt under the crossbar. She and her brother, Marcus, had been going there since they could walk. She didn't know how she knew something was wrong. No one had taught her what such danger looked like, but something about the way the man watched Marcus never her. Always Marcus, something about the absolute stillness of his body, while his eyes kept moving. She knew it the way you know a dog is about to bite before it moves a muscle. She grabbed Marcus by the wrist. She didn't run. She walked, because she was 9, and she knew, with the terrible instinct of a 9-year-old, that running would lead to something bad. She led them to the corner of the block, then to the next corner, then to their front door. She looked around. He was standing. Her mother had come out onto the porch. As Delilah finished explaining, the man was gone. The newspaper was still folded on the bench. No one ever recognized him. No one ever found out how long he had been coming to that park, or whether Marcus was the first child he had watched like this, or the 5th, or the 20th. Delilah is in her 30s now. She has 2 children of her own. She says she can't sit on a park bench without checking how many pages the man next to her has read. That's what an experience like this does. It doesn't leave a scar you can point to. It resets something quieter. The way you scan a space when you enter it. The way you notice when someone's attention doesn't match their posture. What she did that day wasn't heroic. It wasn't a dramatic rescue. This was a 9-year-old girl who noticed something smaller. Newspaper that wasn't moving and believed that it meant something. That was it. That was it. We tell kids to be wary of strangers who come up to them, offer them things, say the wrong things. We don't tell them enough about the ones who just sit quietly and wait. The ones who have learned that patience is a kind of predatory skill. The ones who understand that if you wait long enough, something ordinary will eventually create an opportunity. Delilah didn't create any opportunities. She picked up her brother and went home. And 30 years later, she still can't quite explain how she knew. She just knew. And she didn't deny herself of it. That's the lesson she carries. Not fear, but clarity. The willingness to act on a quiet prompting that says something is wrong before you can prove it is. Because by the time you can prove it, the window is usually gone. The man is already standing. The newspaper is already folded, and you are either already leaving or you are not. Trust the immovable that does not fit. Trust the eye that does not move when it should. Trust the 9-year-old child inside you who already knows. Imagine a Tuesday in October. The sky is bright, the air is cool. The chaos of 30 kids at recess shouting, running. A soccer ball bouncing off the mesh fence with a sound like a flat drum being hit. 2 teachers are standing outside the building, talking. They're watching. Everything is fine. This is a school. There are rules, fences, and the whole architecture of the place is designed to say, children are safe within these boundaries. Carter was 7 years old. He had no problems. He wasn't lonely. He wasn't doing anything wrong. He was collecting interesting rocks near the far corner of the yard, where the soccer field met the fence that ran along the back of the lot. He did this in most of the nooks and crannies. He turned them over in his hands, put the good ones in his jacket pocket, and left the rest. Just then, the man on the other side of the fence also crouched down. He had a dog on a leash, a small one, the kind that 7-year-olds instinctively reach through a fence. He held it forward, like a sacrifice. Do you want to pet it? The dog tensed up against the fence. Carter agreed and came closer. He asked the dog's name. The man told him. Then the man said the dog had come out through a hole in the fence somewhere in the back. Could Carter show him where it was? Carter looked back at the school building. The teachers were far away. They were talking to each other. The far corner of the yard where he was standing was not where they were looking. He didn't leave. He took a step toward the fence, then stopped. Later, he said he couldn't explain why he stopped. Just felt like a door he didn't want to go through. So he turned around and walked back into the building. He told the nearest teacher what had happened. She filed a report. She was skeptical. Kids had imaginations. Adults walked dogs, and school grounds were fenced. But she gave it a go. That week, the man had been seen at 2 other schools. Same approach. Dog on a leash. Friendly question, asking him to come a little closer, a little further away, where everyone could see him. Now think about it for yourself. 2 different schools. Same week. That means Carter wasn't a fluke. He was part of a pattern. A pattern that someone had used long enough to perfect. To know what worked. To know that a small dog, a calm voice, and a simple question could make a child take a step away from whatever was protecting them, and all that stood between. Carter and that step was a feeling he couldn't explain. The feeling of a door he didn't want to walk through. No one had told him specifically about it. No one had shown him a picture or described a scenario. He just felt it, listened, and went back to the building. He's a teenager now. His parents told him the whole story when he was 12. He said the dog was what he remembered most. He said it was a beautiful dog. He said he really wanted to pet it. That's the main thing. It wasn't that he felt fear. He didn't feel it. Not at all. He felt something smaller and harder to name. A hesitation. A slight irregularity in the shape of the moment. And he respected that, even though he couldn't explain it. We tell kids not to talk to strangers. But Carter talked to this man. They had a short conversation. It wasn't about danger. The danger was in the very step. The willingness to go a little beyond the visible space. A fence is not protection. A child who knows his own instincts is protection. And that's what no fence can give him. Just time, trust, and the repeated message that their discomfort is worth more than a stranger's approval. Carter gave his discomfort exactly the weight it deserved, and he returned to the light. Imagine being 30 feet away from your child. You can see them from your window. You could see them from your window every afternoon for months. This is not negligence. This is mindfulness. This is a father who has built the entire geometry of his yard around the idea of knowing where his child is at. Every moment, Ray believed it. He believed it completely, until February, when he found a phone. This is the story that has taken me the longest to think about. Ray sent it last spring with a single line at the beginning. I don't know who else to tell. His son Owen was 6 years old when it began. They lived on a quiet residential street, with a small shared green space behind a row of houses, a strip of grass, a few overgrown hedges along the far edge, and an old wooden swing that had been there since before Ray moved in. Owen used it every day after school. The back door was 30 feet away. Ray had kept the window over the kitchen sink open so he could watch Dot in October. Owen remembered the man talking to him through a crack in the hedge in the backyard. The lot next door was supposed to be empty. The family had moved in 2 summers ago. That evening, Ray walked along the hedge. There were no lights, no cars, no sign of anyone. He told Owen not to talk to strangers. He told himself it must have been nothing, a passerby. Someone was coming through. 2 weeks later, Owen came home and said the man had returned. This time, the man asked what school Owen went to. Ray called the police. They came, checked, but found no sign of habitation in the house next door. Probably nothing, they said. Keep an eye out. Then, nothing. November came. December. Owen stopped thinking about it. The hedge was bare in the winter. No leaves, no shadows, no place to stand unnoticed. Ray began to think he had scared himself over some small thing. He was back to his old life. The window clear, the door closed, Owen visible. He had been cleaning out the garden shed in February. On the back shelf, behind a stack of old paint cans that had been there since they had moved in, was a telephone, a cheap subscription model, fully charged, and 23 photographs on it, all taken through the hedge. All of Owen, playing on the swing, running across the grass, crouching in the dirt, the way 6-year-olds do. When something small and interesting catches their attention. The photographs had begun in late August, 6 weeks before Owen had first mentioned the man. 6 weeks of someone standing in that gap in the hedge in complete silence, while Ray stood 30 feet away, with the window open. Watching intently, and not seeing anything, the police opened a case. They found evidence of someone breaking into the neighboring property through the back gate. No one was ever arrested. The phone is in an evidence box somewhere. Ray tore down the hedge over the course of a weekend, post by post, root by root, until the boundary between the 2 properties was bare earth and nothing could sharpen the view. Owen is 11 now. He still uses the swing. He doesn't know about the phone, and that's what Ray couldn't stop writing about. Not about discovery, not about fear, not about hindrance. The question is, when do you tell your child the whole truth about the world? When does the defense of ignorance do more harm than the knowledge itself? That's what I keep coming back to. Ray did everything right. The window was clean. The door was close. His attention was genuine, and someone had studied that attention carefully enough to bypass it to find a corner, a gap, a 6-week window before the child even learned to say a name. The lesson is not that parents are not vigilant enough. The lesson is that certain kinds of danger are designed to exist in the space created by vigilance. The quiet side of the road, the unlit edges, the gap in the hedge that no one checks because the window is clean. The door is closed, the child is visible, and everything seems just as safe as it should be. Pay attention to the edges, not just the center of the frame, the edges. The things you stopped checking because they seemed like nothing. The hedge you walked along once and decided was okay. Owen doesn't know about the phone, but Ray does. And that knowledge forever changed every ordinary day since then.